A widowed single dad hires a quiet young maid named Elena, who keeps to herself and never shares much about her life. Her mysterious silence and dedication begin to stir his curiosity and concern. The dad begins noticing strange behavior. Elena often leaves quickly after her shift, and once, his son says he saw her crying in the backyard. He decides to follow her one night. The dad follows Elena to a rundown motel. What he discovers about her double life and the secret she's been hiding shakes him to his core. Jason crouched behind the rusty red pickup, his breath shallow, eyes fixed on the worn green door marked 109. The neon motel sign buzzed faintly overhead, casting a pinkish hue over the cracked pavement. He didn't understand what he was doing there, only that he had been compelled. Something inside told him this wasn't just about curiosity anymore, it was about care, maybe even concern. Elena was no ordinary woman, and her life didn't fit neatly into the hours she spent tidying up his house and sharing quiet smiles with his son. He leaned slightly, peeking at the window. The curtain was drawn but not fully closed. There were voices, faint, muffled, but distinct. One was Elena's, the other, unmistakably, was a child's. Jason blinked. Was it possible she had a child? He backed away, heart racing, not from fear but from something deeper, a creeping guilt, even shame, for invading her privacy. But the unanswered questions gnawed at him. Why wouldn't she tell him? Why hide a child? And why live in a place like this when she walked miles each day, cleaning someone else's house for a wage barely above minimum? He returned to his car, parked 2 blocks away. The drive home was silent, his mind replaying every interaction with her, the way she always checked her watch at 5:55, her constant glances toward the door, the moments she seemed lost in thought when she thought no one was watching. That night, he barely slept. Max lay curled up in bed, dreaming like any normal child, unaware of the secrets adults kept. Jason sat in the living room, lights off, blinds drawn, staring at nothing in particular. By morning, he had made a decision. When Elena arrived the next day, her hair slightly damp from the morning mist, Jason greeted her like usual. She offered a small smile. He noticed her eyes lingered longer on Max that morning, like someone longing for something just out of reach. She moved through her tasks quietly, dusting, folding laundry, polishing the frames on the hallway wall. By mid-morning, Jason approached her gently. "Elena, can I ask you something personal?" She hesitated, her hands frozen over the laundry basket. "Of course." He studied her, trying not to come across as accusatory. "I followed you last night." Her body went still. "I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have, but I was worried." She didn't move, didn't speak. "You went to a motel, room 109. I saw a child inside." A long pause. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came. Then, very quietly, "You had no right." "I know, I really do. But I saw how tired you looked. How sad. I didn't know if you were in trouble or if someone was hurting you." She looked away, her eyes filled with something ancient, a grief, maybe, or fear. "That child is mine." Jason exhaled slowly. "Why didn't you say anything?" "Because people judge," she whispered. "They always do." "Try me." She sat down on the edge of the couch, her hands trembling in her lap. "Her name is Sophia. She's 5. We've been living there since my husband died last year. He was in deep debt. I didn't even know until after the funeral. The creditors took everything. The house, the car, even our clothes. I had nowhere to go." Jason's throat tightened. "I was going to shelters. They were full. The motel gave me a weekly rate. It's awful there, but it's safe enough, and they let me pay in cash. I work during the day, and I homeschool her in the evenings. I cook with a hot plate. I sleep on the floor." Jason stared at her, horrified, and not at her, but at the world that could chew someone up and spit them out so cruelly. "I couldn't tell you," she said. "I was afraid if you knew, you'd think I was irresponsible, or using you." He knelt beside her, his voice soft. "Elena, you are the farthest thing from irresponsible I've ever seen. You show up. You work hard. You never ask for help, because help always comes with a cost." "Not mine," he said. She looked at him, and something shifted in her expression. The tears came suddenly, spilling down her cheeks in silent waves. She cried without sobbing, without gasping, just an endless stream of pain pouring out after being locked away for too long. Jason sat with her, no words, just presence. That evening, Jason invited both Elena and Sophia to dinner. She resisted at first, saying it wasn't professional, but he insisted. Max would love the company, he said. And I make a mean spaghetti. Sophia was shy but warm-eyed, with dark curls like her mother and a gap-toothed smile that made Max laugh. The two children bonded over drawings, creating monsters and superheroes on printer paper while the adults watched. Over pasta and garlic bread, Jason learned more. Elena had studied literature before she got married. She'd wanted to be a teacher. Her husband had been charming at first, but over time, he'd grown cold, erratic, gambling, she suspected. By the time he died in a car crash ironically similar to Jason's own wife, it was too late to unravel the mess he left behind. You've been through hell, Jason said quietly. She smiled, sad and sincere. And back, but I still wake up. That's something. They shared more meals over the weeks. Sophia and Max grew closer, like siblings. Jason began picking them up after work sometimes, insisting they not walk all the way back to the motel in the dark. Slowly, the walls between them all began to dissolve. One evening, as the kids played in the backyard under the string lights, Jason found Elena on the porch, arms crossed, eyes lifted to the sky. You know, she said, I used to believe in miracles. What changed? Life. Maybe life just delays them. She chuckled. That sounds like something a single dad would say. They laughed together, a sound that felt like healing. It wasn't long before Jason did something unexpected. He offered Elena and Sophia the guest room just temporarily, he said, until they could find a better place. Elena refused at first, stubborn as always. But the night someone banged on their motel room window while Sophia slept was the night she changed her mind. Moving day was quiet and simple. A few bags, a few books, some toys. That was all they had. But in Jason's home, it felt like abundance. Sophia had her own bed for the first time in months. Elena had a door she could close without fear. Living together came with its challenges and new boundaries, new routines, but it also brought something none of them had expected. Joy. Real joy. One night, while folding laundry side by side, Elena said, "You've saved me." Jason looked at her. "I didn't save you. You did that yourself. I just made room." And somewhere between bedtime stories and Saturday morning pancakes, something unspoken grew between them. A love, perhaps, but not the kind that blazes. The kind that simmers slowly, built on trust and shared wounds. It wasn't fast. It wasn't even romantic at first, but it was real. Max began calling Sophia his almost sister. Elena started applying for teaching jobs again, encouraged by Jason's quiet confidence in her. And Jason, he found himself smiling more, laughing more, even dreaming again. One winter night, they all sat by the fire, the kids asleep under blankets on the couch. Jason handed Elena a small box. "What's this?" she asked, surprised. "Just open it." Inside was a single silver key. "To the house?" He nodded. "To your house." "To our house, if you want it." She blinked, heart pounding. "Are you asking a question mark?" "Not for marriage." He smiled. "Not yet. Just for trust, for presence, for us." She held the key in her palm, silent for a long time. Then she whispered, "Thank you, for seeing me, for following me." He leaned closer, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "What I saw behind that motel wasn't just your secret. It was your strength." Their hands touched, fingers intertwined. There was no big kiss, no dramatic music, just a moment of peace, a rare, beautiful, earned peace. And in that small living room, with two children dreaming nearby and a fire crackling between them, two people who had nearly given up on hope found their way back to it. Together.